So moments ago, you had mentioned the Big Tent and how, and you pointed out in the world of college basketball and the men's NCAA tournament, some upsets and how we as sports fans love it, despite, unfortunately for you pointed out one of your member schools is on the business wrong end of that. We don't really see that in the world of college football because it's just 4 teams playing in the college football playoffs. I mean, I would love to see maybe a 16 seed knock off a 1 in college football. Do you think we'll see that, Commissioner?
I was on a group that looked at a variety of scenarios, including 16 teams, and settled on 12. You'll recall that was advanced for conversation, and there was a pretty small group of leaders who said no. And so here we are with 4. Whether we're able to re-engage given current circumstances remains to be seen. But I was excited to introduce a 12-team playoff. And I think if you actually look through the bracket idea that was presented by that subcommittee, the matchups created in the first round of that playoff, the second round, all the way through to the national championship, it would be really exciting. It would provide some opportunities for upsets, a lot of opportunities for young people to access national championship competition. And so that one's really my focus, whether somebody wants to go bigger and better. You know, I have coaches who've opined about that. But I think there's something still around that 12-team playoff that we ought to be talking about for our future.
Have any of those schools that balked at your 12-team proposal since knocked back on your door saying, how about that one? Can we put that back on the table? Has that happened?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting during media days where all of a sudden everybody thought expanding the playoff was a great idea. And I shared in the aftermath of those public comments that, hey, it's one thing to stand behind a microphone and make those remarks. What we've learned is in a meeting room, when it's time to cast a vote, that's when it matters. So that I think the answer to your question remains to be seen when we actually do gather up later this fall.
I mean, things are just changing so fast, Commissioner. Again, I'm sitting here in Los Angeles. We could call that Big Ten country now, which I never thought I would ever say about the Big Ten. So let's remove the T from that Big Tent conversation you mentioned before. That's another piece of news that happened today, is the Big Ten announcing their new media partnership and the number of windows and different partners that are now associated. I'd just love to place that in front of you if you care to comment on what you thought of the Big Ten's media strategy, Commissioner Sankey.
Sure. You know, congratulations to our colleagues. I know there's a lot of work that goes into that. They certainly had an opportunity around the termination of all of their media agreements. I actually think that we're incredibly well positioned. And I know, for example, the number of eyeballs in Los Angeles and Southern California that tune into our games. And our future will transition from involving CBS to actually having more broadcast TV opportunities through ABC than we've ever had over the last 2.5 decades. In addition, the sophistication of ESPN's digital delivery will be a great asset for us, along with what we do in the SEC network. So I'm excited about our future, congratulate our colleagues, and gives us the opportunity to roll up our sleeves and get back to work to make sure our future, including our financial opportunities, are second to none.
Big Ten also, in announcing those deals, Commissioner Sankey said they're not done expanding. What about the SEC in football?
You know, I tried to really be responsible, and I think I was at our media days, to say when we moved a year ago with the addition of Oklahoma and Texas, it was done for because it's the right kind of fit. They approached us philosophically aligned, culturally aligned with how we support athletics, our campuses, our region. And we're going to be very attentive to what others do. What I've not done is what I've seen others engage in, which is public speculation or commitments to continuing to expand. We've had any number of incoming phone calls, so those have continued through this week, actually. And so we're mindful of what's happening. We're really proud of how we've positioned ourselves. And if the right opportunities were presented, we'd certainly have a meaningful conversation. But I'm not recruiting. There's a lot to do with onboarding the two great universities to our 14 great members now. And that's really our focus, not expansion. And I think we all have a duty to act and communicate responsibly, given the discomfort, I think the tension, the disruption, the uncertainty that exists. And so for me to be clear, we're not in the expansion mode right now, but we're going to be prepared if circumstances dictate that we have to change our position.
So that construction we overheard, that's not building that phone bank to receive all the calls that you're getting from people who want in?
You need to come down to the office. I'll give you a tour, and you can see exactly what it is.
In.
But no,
Absolutely.
We expanded our conference room last summer. We can fit like 28 people around the table, but that's not. We're not shooting for a number. Again, when we look back at Oklahoma and Texas, the alignment around support of high-level college athletics, the great universities, and the geography fits for us. And that makes us both national and really internationally interesting to people. So we're excited about that future.